Here's Puppets Productions!
I still can't believe this is my most successful video. Oh hi. Um uh Now that that one simping arc is over and done. Did a fly just fly across my Now that the simping arc is over after a surprisingly fun adventure, which we'll talk about another day, I'm now ready to move on to other things in the channel. Now, that doesn't mean that FNAF content is necessarily over. I'm just saying that the simping arc is over. Like, I still want to make some sort of FNAF episode in the future, but again, for another story. But today, I actually want to try something that I should probably do more of on my channel. It's to have a director's commentary on some of my past projects. Now, with that idea in mind, I can talk about whatever I want to, like the Sipping Piracy arc that we just mentioned, Chester and the WarioWare, Chester and the Christmas Special 2. But today I decided to do a commentary on something that I did not even upload to this channel until today. And that is a behind the scenes look on how I built the puppets for this one play called Pietro De Amor, which roughly translates to Rock of Love from what I last checked. This is a show that was written by Justin Robinson and was one of the 7 plays put in the BHS One Act Festival, which we put on a while back. One of the cool things that I liked about the BHS One Act Festival is that it was all student written, student directed, and student acted. Literally all of it was in charge of the students. One of the things that I really like about that show is that there was one creative choice in every single play that stood out from all the others. Whether it's a set choice, whether it's a costume choice, whether it's a movement choice, every single choice made has always had one source of creativity in every single play. Now, as one of those 7 directors in the show, I thought it'd be best to share my creative outlet that I chose. Well, it's actually a longer story than you think. The play was actually recommended to me by one of my friends, and they loved the play so much that they actually suggested that I'm the one that directed that play. And what's funny is that they were like, you know, Nico, don't get your hopes up, but do you know what would go really good with the show? A puppet. And at first I was like, I don't know. I mean, it sounds good. It's a good idea, but then that would mean I would have to, you know, teach people puppetry, and like, I don't know if I'm quite ready to do that yet. So with that idea in mind, I just picked up the play and started reading it. At first I was like, okay, Pietro De Amor by Justin Robinson. Alright, let's see what this play is about. I need to start working. I don't know how it happened. I just thought this play is so good and I really want to direct this one. And just creative Nico came into the scene. Like, he was just thinking, building, observing, like doing whatever is needed to put this show together. And mind you, this is a screenplay, so I had to adapt this from screen to stage, and that was fun in itself. Like, there were just so much creative choices that I could put into this. Now, when did the puppets come into play? Well, shortly after I picked the play, I just thought of a way to build the puppets. I mean, I knew I wanted it to be simple, but also be very eye-catching. I think that's the word I'm looking for. And I knew that if I wanted to put these puppets on a live stage, I needed to make sure they looked really, really presentable. Like, close, if not exactly like puppets that would be presentable on a live show, because I didn't want these puppets to look like Chester and the others, for example. No offense to you guys, but like, some of you would look on the stage, some of you would not. So in order to make these puppets look presentable as they are, I had to do something that I wasn't quite familiar with when I was building puppets back in the day, and that was making a design for the puppets. Now, when I originally started building puppets, the idea just came up in my head and I just started building as I go. But I knew that if I was going to do this with the limited amount of material that I have, I would make mistakes and then I just end up getting frustrated in the end, and it would not look good. So I had to make designs for the characters, and that also helped when I needed to actually pitch in the idea to my drama teacher. Shortly after we picked our plays, the directors had to pitch in their ideas to Glover. Glover's the name of our drama teacher, by the way. To see, you know, what needs to be done, what could be fixed, you know, what needs to be approved and all that jazz. Some directors had shorter lists, some had longer lists. I had the longest list. The reason for that was my show was again screen to stage, and not only that, Glover had to find out what the heck I was gonna do with all the rocks, cause like there was no way I could make them costumes, cause like as a creative person, that would not be creative. Like it would just it wouldn't look that good in my opinion. Again, my opinion. So he asked me questions about what I wanted it to look like for example, like how the set wanted to look like how the costumes are gonna look, like how many actors you're gonna need, and I ended up telling him that I want to make puppets for the show, and he was in on the idea. Glover's one of those people that knows I like puppets, so it was so awesome to see him be so surprised that I actually wanted to make puppets for an actual live show, something that I've never actually done before, and to have that sort of challenge be there, like yeah, it was amazing to see that. Now, when I originally had the idea of making puppets, I thought I had to, just build a couple, since it seemed like a small amount of rocks were going to be used in the show. But then I realized I had to make 9. Yay. So I showed Glover every design. He loved every single one of them. He knew what I wanted to do, and he was all up for it. And he was telling me, even if they don't have the puppets ready, they should at least have something in the rehearsal process. And then I was like, my name is Nicholas Pierce. They're going to have those puppets ready. So after that business, winter break came around, and I just got started working. Now, the time lapse of how the puppets were made, it was actually a 3-day process. On the first day, I made 1 puppet. On the second day, I made 3. And on the last day, I made the rest of the puppets. So you could tell I was pretty busy on those days, and it was so rewarding in the end. Then after I'm done, January comes around, and that's when we start rehearsing. And one of the things I wanted to do with the show is to, one, not make it look like a school play, but like as much as an actual production as I can. And another goal was to not have the puppet seem like a gag. What I mean by that is, people think that you could just put a puppet on and be like, and then, think that you could just get away with it. And you really can't. Like, in my opinion, if you have a puppet in a show and it's performed poorly, the whole show looks like a joke. Like, and I did not want the show to look like a joke. Like, I wanted to look as professional as can be, and I wanted to make sure that every rock looked alive when it... What did I just say? And I wanted every rock to look as much alive as it... One second. And I wanted every rock to look as alive as it can be when it's needed to. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Yeah. So I had to do another thing that I was actually looking forward to, and that was actually teaching people puppetry. I had about 8 puppeteers in the show, and I had to make sure I taught every single one of them the skills to create and adapt these characters and to make sure that they look the best that they can be. So what I did to help with that was I made these little things that are actually practice eyes that I think the Henson Company developed. Now what they are is they are just simply 2 ping pong balls that are glued to an elastic strap, and they are the best possible things that you can use to teach people puppetry, because since the 2 eyes are up here, it's really mainly used for focus. And it's also helped to use to help with lip sync and all that. Because when you're performing a puppet, you got to make sure that the thumb is the one that goes up and down and not the lid, because then it would not look good. So I had to make sure that all the puppeteers were cautious of that. And I made every single puppeteer one of these, and they all got to take them home. Funnily enough, I had a pack of 24 ping pong balls that I used to make the eyes for the rocks, and I had just enough to make enough practice eyes for all the puppeteers, and I even had 1 extra. So yeah, it's a miracle. The 3 things I told all of them was focus, gravity, and breath. You got to make sure that the focus is to the person you're talking to, the gravity so you're actually planted in one place and not like drooping to the side or anything, and breath is to make sure that every single word is coming out of here. So during the rehearsal process, I gave all the puppeteers one day to learn as much as they could, and throughout rehearsal weeks, adapt and create all the things that I taught them into their own character. And let me just say, they did a marvelous job at that. Another goal that I set for myself in the show was to not make it look like a birthday show type show where that one person is there and they're behind the stage and they're like, "Oh hey kids, let's go to milkshake day." Like, no, I didn't want it to be like that. Instead, I wanted it to be more of like an Avenue Q type show where the puppeteers are actually visible and you're performing the puppet as you're on stage. And as Rick Lyon, the original builder of the puppets for the show, would say, it's like watching a foreign language film where there's the subtitles and the performers, but like over time you start getting numb just looking at two things at once and you're just looking at the puppet because of how great of a performance it is. And I wanted it to be like that. So now, about the actual puppets themselves. I thought I'd just show you how I built them and what some of the bumps in the road were, what are some things I like about the puppets, and like just some things that I really love about these characters that I built, and I thought I'd share them with you right now. So the first puppet that I built was actually the main rock, which you know, why would I start with like the least important rock? And let me just clarify, there is no least important rock. Every rock is as important as can be. But this rock was the first thing that I built, actually the first thing that I designed. One of the things I wanted it to look like was to be very happy, very adorable, very lovely, very eye-catching, and I think that the actual puppet and the design actually is pretty accurate. So yeah, that's the first puppet that I ever, not the first puppet that I ever built, but like the first puppet that I built for the show. So here's the puppet version of the main rock. Really happy with how this little guy came out. He's a really cute character. I think he fit all the needs that I had in my design. A very cute, happy, and lovable rock. Good enough to see on stage. Good enough to be fully animated, and just really, really love this character, and I really love how he came out. One of the things that I really like about this character is how simple he is. Like, he's just simply a head with arms and a neck tube. Like, that's literally just the simplest you can get with this sort of character. And I also had a goal from building the rocks, is to have every single rock be distinctive from each other and like have something different about them. I knew since this rock was sort of going to be, well, not sort of, he is going to be like the lead rock in the show, I needed to make him as expressive as possible. So adding arms was sort of like the best thing that I could have added. The fingers are posable, not something that isn't necessarily used or seen in the show, but I mean, yeah, it's there. The eyes were made out of ping pong balls that I mentioned earlier. I added eyebrows to the character to make the eyes pop out a little more, because after looking at without the eyebrows, it just didn't look as eye opening. So I added the eyebrows into there, and just yeah, he just simply performs like a traditional hand puppet. Really happy with how he moves and how animated that he could be on stage. And the performer, Joy is their name, really brought this character to life. I am so in love with the performance, and just like, it is like one of the best things I've ever seen in my life, and just like I love it so much. So yeah, this is not performance. This is the puppet of the main rock. So this right here is Injured Rock, and Injured Rock is basically the Rock in the show, but there's a scene where one of the characters named Bill, who's like this bully who bullies this girl named Sandra, he ends up destroying the Rock, and he throws him to this one area on stage, and I could have easily just added pain eyelids to the main Rock, but I knew that if I did that, it'd just take too much time and won't look good. So I did what I originally planned to do: build an entire new character. Well, not necessarily new character. It's just a new puppet. As you can see, he's cracked all around. He's meant to look very hurt, very sad, which I think I also fulfilled from the design. One of the things I noticed is his pupils are a lot bigger than I originally planned, which is sort of good since he's on a live stage and he needs to be seen. One of the things that I have some reservations for is that I wish I sort of made the cracks a little bit darker and larger, since I don't really know if people could see it that well on the stage, but still, I really love how this poor little guy came out. One of the difficulties that I also ran into in building the puppet was the hands. Now, there's one thing about puppeteers that they don't like building, and that's hands. If you're a puppeteer and you actually like building hands, you're either lying or you're a monster. Now, that said, I was building the left hand, and I thought to myself, maybe I could just be lazy and not add the right one. And it would also work since, the Rock is about to break and only one arm is used. But then I remembered, I don't want to be lazy for this one. So I ended up building a second arm. And one of the things that I messed up on was the rod placement. These fingers aren't posable, but the rod was sort of put in wrong. So the way you turn the rod, the hand just shifts like that, which sort of works because you could just turn the rod like this and you could just place a hand on a table or something and make it slowly rise up. So that was an accidental move on my part, but it still ended up working in the end. So it was sort of a blessing in disguise. So yeah, that's basically Injured Rock. Poor little guy. So these are the Rock pieces. There's a scene in the show where the Rock breaks entirely and the Rock just ends up getting shattered and like broken into 3 pieces. One thing that you may immediately notice is that in the design, I had 4 pieces instead of 3. One reason is, one, I just hate the number 4. Like, I never liked the number 4. The real reason was, I just took scraps of block foam that I had lying around that I used to build another puppet back in the day, and I just simply took 2 pieces of them and I just cut 2 holes in the back that you could just place your fingers into. Stop it. I know what you're thinking. Don't even stop. No, you need to stop. Anyways, as I was saying, yeah, so this is mainly used for 2 people to perform. So one person would be controlling the eyes and the other would be controlling the mouth. Now, the real reason why I had this just be one simple piece was because it was just easier and like it had a better chance of the mouth being used properly. So yeah, you just simply place your 4 fingers into here and you just perform the puppet like that. So yeah, this is mainly a 2-person puppet, but if you have skilled fingers like me, you can perform it with just 1 hand. But it's better to have 2 for better mobility. So yeah, these are the Rock pieces. This guy right here is Grass Rock, or just Grass for short. Now, there's this scene where all these rocks come out from the same place the main rock comes out. And one of the things I like about these rocks is that there was no specific direction as to what these rocks are supposed to look like. So I was given a lot of creative freedom as to what these rocks could look like. So naturally, at first, I wanted to start off with a rock that had grass on its head and to look like a pretty cool hairstyle. So I just got some green fur and I put it on just this rock, which is basically the same rock design as all the other rocks, just without the arms. This rock is... I decided that this rock should be like the leader of the group. Like, he's the leader of the No. So, I thought this rock should like lead all the other rocks into defeating Bill and the other bullies for destroying the rock. So, the rock is meant... This rock is meant to look triumphant, sort of like, you know, leader, commander, you know, like, yeah, it's supposed to... Yeah, that's sort of what it's supposed to resemble. And I just really love the hair on this thing, and just I love it so much. So yeah, that's Grass. So this guy right here is Leaf Rock, and I sort of depicted Leaf Rock to be the second in command from Grass. You know, this rock is the most, in my opinion, the most aggressive out of all of them, since the rock, I keep saying the rock. This rock does the most attacks. And this rock seems like the most aggressive out of all of them from what I just said. I really love the leaf I added on top here. One of the things I do have reservations for is the fact that I put the leaf backwards. Yeah, so that's one thing that I messed up on, but still, it looks great nonetheless. And you can see that I just added a little patch there that the leaf would just slide into. I thought I could just cut a hole in the top and just simply slide it in and glue it, but just like... It didn't really look good. So, and plus I didn't want to have the risk of it falling out. So I had to make sure it was extra secured here. Other than that, this rock is pretty much the same design from all the other rocks. And, yeah, that's Leaf Rock. Now this right here is Design Rock. Now, Design is the most creative rock out of all the others, since this rock has like a really cool design. Meant to look like one of those rocks who are more of like jewels or minerals or yeah, those sorts of rocks. So I thought that this rock should be very full of itself, like very cool, very vibrant, like, oh, I love my design, like something like that. But then notices that it just ruined all the other rocks' plans, but is still ready to engage in battle when necessary. And just like, if this rock doesn't think you have a good outfit, it will let you know. Like, that's just the rule. Like, it'll just let you know if you have like a bad design, because like this rock knows good designs from bad ones. So I thought that this would be a very fun character choice. Or now keep in mind, these some of these choices were created by the performer, some of these choices were created by me, but just it really was all dependent on how the puppet looks and how, you know, the puppet acts. Now this puppet went through the most destruction through all the other puppets, because this was new material that I never used before. I don't even know what this material is called. It's some sort of fabric, but yeah, I don't know what material it was, but I mean, it works, but just like there were strands of fabric like falling out, like the head wasn't secured properly to the tube, and just like it was a mess. So this puppet had to go through most of the rebuilds and all that. But other than that, it still works perfectly fine, just like a traditional puppet. So yeah, that's design. Now this is the puppet of Nose Rock, and Nose Rock is like one of my favorite rocks to build. One of the reasons why is because I had a rule, if you remember, to make all the rocks distinct from themselves. So I was like, what is something that I can make this rock distinct from the others? What is one thing that I can add to make this rock distinct from the others? What I can. What is one thing that I can add to this puppet that'll make it distinct from the others? And the first thing that came to my mind was, why not just have it have a nose? Here we are now. But what's really neat about this character is the fact that this character just wants to engage in battle but can't do it because he's sneezing all the time. just literally he's just trying his best, and but everyone is always giving him a hard time for doing so. But in the end, it really became his ultimate weapon. One of the things that was suggested to me from building this character was to have some sort of water gun mechanism where there would be a water come out of his nose and a tube would go down and you'd have a little spray bottle. On paper, that sounds like a good idea, but just it would have taken way too much time and it would just be uncomfortable for the performers because at least from what I see. So that mechanism wasn't added, which is a good idea, but just I don't know how it'd be executed since I've never really added any real mechanism to a character. But yeah, that's basically Nose, and he's one of my favorite rocks in the rock pack. So I don't know, I can't really think of a better name for those 4 rocks. I mean, you figure it out, but just yeah, this is one of my personal favorites. Now the next puppet is the Mountain, and as you can see, it's not with me because I wasn't the one who built the puppet of the Mountain. It was my 2 tech designers, actually. Funny story about that Mountain was I didn't build the Mountain when I brought all the puppets in to our first rehearsal, and we were having a director meeting, and Glover was telling me, don't get so caught up into building things, let Tech build. Can I not talk today? Don't get so caught up into building things, let Tech build stuff for you. And I was just like, well, okay, I just need to tell him to design. And the best I can do was keep the eyes of the Mountain. The Mountain was massive. It was this flat and you can stick these 2 wooden dowels through the holes in the eyes, and then you could just move it left and right, up and down, however you please. And from the back, there was this piece of wood that you can move up and down, and that controls the mouth. And despite how big it really is a very simple puppet. Some of the things that was different from my design and their version of the puppet was I thought that the eye holes were going to be a lot bigger, and they would simply just go into the slots like that, and then they would connect some elastic to the back of the eyes, and then it just turn like that. But the way that they did it to have the eye holes a lot smaller and have the wooden dowels be there, it was a much easier idea and didn't waste any extra any what's the word I'm looking for? Any extra building time, I think. That's the closest I can really come up with for now. But in the end, it made a really great performance of the Mountain, and just I love the way that it was built, and just I was able to keep the eyes. So yeah, that's part of the Mountain I have. Here is the puppet version of the flower, and Like, this is like my most favorite puppet to build in all of the production. Like, just look at her. Like, she's just so beautiful, so colorful, so vibrant, and she really gives grand finale vibes in her appearance. And I literally love the way that I built her. One thing that you may automatically notice is that there's way less petals than what I originally planned. Because like I thought there was going to be like so many petals, but I just couldn't find the right material. So what I did was I took spare yellow fleece, and I just took some spare foam that I had. But I ran out of yellow fleece, so I was only able to add 3 petals, which actually really works better because she has sympathetic movement, which is movement that isn't necessarily being motivated by the performer. Like, even if I just tilt my head like that, like, there's movement. Like, she's designed to be this very slow and vibrant character, and just like, I love the petals that she has. They're called leaves, you idiot. Whatever. Yeah, so I always get them confused. Petals, leaves, petals, leaves, petals, leaves. But it's like, yeah, I love the leaves, and I just love the way she's meant to be performed, and just like, she's just so beautiful, and I love her. One other thing that I might add was, again, one of the hardest things about building this puppet was the hands. This was actually a beta hand. This ain't gaming, but just like this is an early hand that I built for the flower, and as you can see, the rod is all the way in the back here, and the rod that actually is used for the show is more so right here. And if I actually kept it back here, then the movement would have been restricted, and just it wouldn't have looked good, and just like it was bad, and I sort of messed up with this. So I had to build 2 other hands with the same pattern, and yeah, so that's fun. So I just have this lying around here, and I don't know what to do with it. So yeah, I guess it's just here to be placed in the Nico mistake bin. I don't have a Nico mistake bin because I don't, well, maybe I should make one, I don't know. But just like, yeah, other than that, that's basically what I've done for the flower. So now that all that is done, I gave you all the insights on how I built the puppets, an insight as to how behind the scenes went in general, and just how the entire process went. So what's next? Well, the only right thing to do now is to see how all of it was put together. So luckily, I have the footage for my play in the One Act Festival, as well as all the other plays. If I get permission, I'll post those as well. But yeah, I guess now all we can do is sit back, relax, and watch this production of Pietro De Amor, written by Justin Robinson. Alright, hi everybody! Hi, my name is Nicolas, and I directed the play Pietro De Amor, written by Justin Robinson. And this show is gonna rock, and I hope all of you enjoy it.
It's nature.
She What do you want, Bill?
I want that rock of yours.
No. Oh, wait. Bill, you mean this guy?
Yeah, toss it over. Gotcha. Let's see how durable this guy is. Oh, I'm about to get shattered.
No, please stop.
Yes. Well, I guess he wasn't that durable. Thought I killed him. Also, let the grass can talk now.
What about the plant?
watching.